PC, build knowledge application microlearning sims with an AI authoring tool. We have Bill Cornelius here with us today, and he is going to guide us through this demo. Bill, you can take it away for us.
Great, thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, well, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for taking a few minutes to learn a little bit about our capabilities and our platform. Our goal today is to really kind of talk about how we can bridge the gap from merely knowing to actually successfully doing through virtual learning that works. We're going to kind of highlight a little bit about what micro learning is and micro sims as it relates to eTrain in our platform. We've got some examples. We even have a study that was performed that really demonstrates how effective this training can be. And we're going to definitely highlight some AI capabilities and how we can leverage this technology to actually build faster and with less costs and stress, if you will. And then at the end, we're going to also talk about a free offer for anybody participating in this webinar to actually create a two-step micro sim that you could show off to your team and maybe leverage internally as well. So first and foremost, what are knowledge application micro sims? Essentially, we put learners in a position where they can actually demonstrate virtually their knowledge. And they can do these in small steps between 5 and 15 minutes or longer, obviously. But it's about decision-making, critical thinking, and interactions as well in more advanced type sims. And really what this does along the way is there's a documentation of your level of competence as a learner, also knowledge checks with some adaptive learning based on maybe some of the misses in the knowledge application side. And there's automatic mentoring. So where you need help as a learner, you could automatically receive that through this technology. And I think what's also important is this whole platform and concept is based on some great science, Bloom's taxonomy, and more importantly, on the ability to actually practice and deploy your knowledge in a different scenario outside the classroom. So what are micro sims and why are they important? Well, essentially, these are technology pieces that can run on any device, etc. It enables learners to practice and even better prepare, because I think the goal from a training and education perspective is fewer mistakes and errors, really trying to onboard people as quickly as possible, especially with the high turnover rates, with that Gallup poll that I read, where it's a significant amount of money we're losing corporately as well on the training side, and to improve retention and overall training costs. So why don't we do this? Let's dive through a couple of examples on micro sims. And we've been doing this now for several years. We've got a lot of customers that have leveraged this. Here's a great example for maintenance. Employees go through the steps to properly clean this particular environment. Or we have a healthcare part of our solutions where healthcare professionals can actually practice a case where you're bringing a patient that's not responsive in an ambulance. What are the decisions? What are the things you need to do in an ambulance setting from a healthcare perspective? To even documenting in a software product. So what are your carbohydrates or blood sugar, et cetera. So at this point, we're going to actually go through one together. And this is a simulation that we've created on cybersecurity, where there's a breach and you're the role of a manager in the right-hand corner. And I think what's important here from a training perspective is, as learners go through this and they make the wrong decision, they can be corrected. Then once they make the right decision, there could be specific feedback and directions. Anything within this scene you can select. So if there is a protocol for cybersecurity in this case, for this demo, we can go ahead and shut down certain files or programs, within the network. And this particular micro simulation, we can get you access to individually if you reach out to us on our website. So you can actually go through this yourself. Our goal today is to really show and preview some of the capabilities and how this is working. And you could even have simulation built into these training where it can simulate documenting certain things related to a protocol. And then the debriefing side of this for both learners and administration is very powerful, as well as follow-up assessments. So why don't we review some of the things that we were highlighting there so quickly. So first and foremost, a very intuitive and easy to use interface that can be built specific to the training that you're trying to get in the audiences you're trying to reach. So for example, not only can I click and make decisions from a critical thinking perspective, but I can also document my confidence. Is it high or low in these decisions? And then as you had seen, I can click on the computer, interact with it, and then that bottom toolbar can be designed specifically to your training, whether there's video, equipment, instrumentation, step lists, etc., all can be seen. That debrief that a learner receives after taking the training is pretty powerful. Not only will I see my score, I can even get a review button to more information on my misses from a learner's perspective, as well as documenting my confidence levels, how much time it took me to actually make these decisions along the way can be documented. And then we even give a graph on your knowledge application confidence and what quadrant are you in as it relates to this. We had talked a little bit about the assessment side in the beginning. Pre and post assessments can be applied here along with adaptive learning built into the questions or the decisions you miss, you can be followed up with to confirm learning was there, as well as what's your confidence level in answering these questions. So that debrief that a learner receives, pretty powerful, a lot of information. So what if I was overconfident and I actually was part of the Dunning-Kruger effect, where my knowledge does not support my confidence level? And those are really what we would consider high-risk learners. So if you notice in the left corner, I can click on the review button as a learner, and I'm automatically given some choices where I could actually listen or observe through a video. An expert reviews steps on what they would take for this particular type of learning. And we're using a different example here now just to show you. But so, not only would I get a good summary of what that expert would have done, so that maybe helps me realize that I might not know as much as I think I do from a positive perspective. And then also links to enhance my knowledge, whether it's additional learning courses, if it's built on a learning management system, these tools can actually point in those directions, as well as research links. And then when we talk about management and the team to really look at how this microsim knowledge application pieces are being used, from a 10,000-foot view, you could see how it's being consumed, whether it's through mobile phones or computers or VR, as well as a bubble graph showing you where are kind of those high-risk learners, because those are the ones you want to really get to and try and help, right? And drill down into significant data and information, all part of this platform. So let's dive into a more advanced microsim example. This is actually a spine surgery piece that we did with a medical device manufacturer. And as you can see, this is geared towards surgeons who are trying to understand this new technique. And with this platform, you could actually make the mouse become the device, in this case, alignment with this chisel. And then another key important piece of this is how you advance the chisel while watching fluoroscopy. So I can even hear sounds with this training as well. And then how about in combat? The Tactical Combat Casualty Care, TC3, is a very important training program for the military. And this is a great example of how there's significant information up front. And then you can even pre-assess somebody's knowledge, or at least give somebody an idea that, how much knowledge do you have as you go into this microsim. And really the goal for our partner that built this for the government side is now I'm in a combat scenario. I hear a lot of noise. I have to make decisions. Do I move the wounded soldier to a safe space? I do. And then as I'm in that space, what am I going to do to treat this wound? And I can simply click on the IFAK bag and start to make my decisions as I go through. So I mentioned we did a little bit of healthcare work as well on this. So this is a really great example of a nurse and going through a case on a patient that basically has early stage sepsis. And as we showed some of the examples before, you can click on anywhere within this room to kind of get information to start making your decisions and to demonstrate your knowledge about sepsis and recognizing it. And in this particular case, you can click on the patient and then kind of see that there's a response of lethargy. So, maybe now you want to do something else to really try and get more information. And that might be taking vital signs. And these microsims can actually simulate what you would see on the vital sign side, as well as the actions you've taken are recorded. So I think in closing, as a final example, it's such a wide range. This is a great example for actually putting together your cleaning solution with one of our customers' products. So I'm now operating this equipment, and this is a digital image, and I'm interacting with it to check the salt levels as I make this solution, and I'm going through various steps demonstrating that I know what to do step by step. So one of the things we had previewed early on is there actually have been some really great studies about the capabilities of this platform and the benefits. So one of our customers is University of Texas Government Medical School, and Dr. Norman is actually leading this. And one of the things that had happened here is they really had identified a tremendous need for more training and education, that just face-to-face training and some of the higher end physical simulators were just not enough for the students. So they licensed our platform and they started building some modules. And a couple of the modules, they actually did a study with a group of 170 students who participated in the study. And the results are pretty exciting. Not only did the students like the fact that they could practice and better understand this procedure or process that they're being taught, but it also helped identify knowledge gaps. And I think as a supplement to a lot of the training that a lot of us are doing that is very productive and great, we can actually leverage this platform to do more at a much less costly way. And I think that's really the discussion here, is you can leverage this virtual training for before, during, and after higher type fidelity training, et cetera, that you may have. So how do we build these micro sims from a self-authoring perspective? Well, I first and foremost want to say thanks to the great team at eTrain. We've been working really hard for over 5 years now, building a platform and leveraging, technology to kind of help build sims faster. And the process for anybody who's working with us is we have a full-blown academy where you can learn a little bit about how to use the tools, but you can also learn as you go. And when you build something in these tools, you can create a storyboard, or you can just work real time. And we have customers that do both. But once you assemble all your materials, and there's a lot of documentation everybody has, from manuals to checklists to user guides to procedure protocols, you assemble what the scene or the images are going to be, and then you design. And it's a flexible methodology. So for all of us with an instructional design background, you can really leverage what you're trying to do, what's your audience, what are the specific things you want to make sure people understand. And then these things can be published in SCORM, XAPI, and even custom. If you don't have internet access, you can actually publish a file that can run on a piece of equipment, et cetera. And more importantly, you can localize a lot of this training. So pretty powerful stuff. And then the platform itself is really has 4 main pieces. So first and foremost, I can build these micro sims that we're about to show you with the technology. I can also merge these knowledge application sims with a lot of great e-learning products. We just saw some great information from Articulate. We do a lot of custom development for our customers. So we use Articulate and we embed these micro sims in the Articulate experience. So after you've gotten all that knowledge, now show me that you can apply it in some kind of virtual setting. And that has been very helpful to the audiences we've been helping with. And then there's also this great analytics engine that can help you really look at the applied knowledge principles and what's happening in your workforce or your student population. But more importantly, is the training effective? You can also evaluate the training in more instances. And then, of course, leveraging a library. So what I'm about to show you here is on the healthcare side, we actually have a lot of information as it relates to a library for our users. So if I'm in healthcare and I'm actually going to build a module on somebody maybe who has abdominal pain, I can pick from a library the room. I can actually then look through the almost 100 different patients based on age, ethnicity, et cetera. And then I can then build my room, and I can decide what pieces of equipment I want in this room that are going to be part of the decision process for somebody to demonstrate. They can identify what's going on with this patient and react to it, right? And perform that. So we've got a very visual application here that doesn't take a specific amount of training. You just basically are answering a few questions, putting in some text, and within minutes, you could actually have a couple of steps built. And then now, we could actually, in this particular case, identify what's the correct and incorrect steps, and then preview. And as you can see, pretty quickly, you can build a micro sim that allows people to make decisions, demonstrate their knowledge, kind of as they go. And so that's healthcare. How about something along the lines of maintenance? So this is a digital picture of a room that actually has a spill. And our customer actually wanted to create something that let people better understand what are the steps to clean this and what do you need. So as you can see, very similar to what we're just doing in the healthcare side, but in this case, we're selecting a digital picture, and then we're going to, in this environment, decide where is the decision for the stain, the water, as well as what am I going to do within this scene. And I can select different images and decide what image is available for the decisions that I'm about to make. And one of the goals here is trying to have better training for everybody to take that's more visual, because visual learning seems to be very popular in the training audience nowadays. And I think that's something that we can definitely address. So as you can see, once I've done the same thing of setting this up, I can within minutes create a micro sim that allows me to make decisions in this area. What would I do? How would I handle it? And move forward. So we had shown you a quick, brief overview of how to build a sim manually. One of the things that we've really been working a lot on and pretty excited about is leveraging the AI technology to do this. So we created a virtual developer called eMentor1, essentially, that is AI-based. And we can use ChatGPT or Google or a lot of other AI engines out there. But in this particular case, the way our application works is you put together a case. And we work with East Virginia Medical School on the healthcare side. So this is an example of a case that they had created for their resident program. So we can take this case and actually feed this into the AI engine. And essentially what happens is the AI engine looks at our application as if it was a developer, and we've taught it how to actually build microsims. So you'll see here in a matter of minutes, by putting in a base case, I can actually create now a microsim that walks me through as a resident, a medical student, what are my decisions in seeing this patient as it relates to this abdominal care case. And I think we're pretty excited about the applications here because it can really save development time by leveraging this technology. And another good example of applications of AI is also definitely around other things. So here's an image that we created on an AC repair visit. So I can do basically the same thing I just did with the medical case, where I can feed in a summary of what I would want a tech to do step by step when they go to repair somebody's AC at home. And the AI component builds that microsim and it previews it for me. And again, I can also edit this if I want, but the key steps for AC repair, first you talk to the customer and then you go get your tools and then you start your service work. And I think, this is the kind of training that the workforce and students are looking for, is very quick to the point training to kind of help. So that's a really good example, I think, of leveraging AI. So overall, and I think what's important here is AI does open up a lot of opportunities for saving time. I think this is really what a lot of it was meant to be. First and foremost, you can automate the remediation process because of the knowledge. So if you were to take your user guide or your manual, you could feed it into the AI engine, and then the AI engine can act as a mentor for the training and answer the questions based on the material that you have, not the internet. So that's, I think, a really big feature that can help from a support perspective. Also, as I just mentioned, leveraging ChatGPT or Google Palm, you can actually build training pretty quickly and pretty effectively. And I think this really starts to open up a lot of opportunities for success on the training side. It's a significant need. There's a huge problem of workforce turnover, and it's costing organizations and institutions almost $1 trillion, I think I saw in a Gallup poll. But more importantly, it's also about implementing support as you're using our tools, because we leverage some of the AI features in answering questions that you may have when you're building a microsim. But keeping in mind, not only can you build them yourself, but you can also work with us in terms of building these sims. So I think, what we really want to focus on here is, why are these knowledge application sims so important? As we mentioned, I think it's bridging a gap, right, between knowing and then actually performing and doing, applying that knowledge. And this ease of use, it's accessible really anywhere. So this training is 24/7. And it can also really confirm, knowledge and confidence for your learners. You can really better understand where those gaps are and who needs more help, right? And then from an adult learning perspective and a visual learning perspective, I think these are things that a lot of the organizations we work with are looking for, is to really help, with workforce training. And then, just having the information, the data to better position yourself in terms of what are the training needs within the organization. And I think, the final piece here is, why is a self-authoring tool so important? Well, time is a big challenge from a training perspective. Training departments never have the resources they need to deploy the right training and as much training. So I think this is kind of where this platform and AI specifically can help, because the AI tools become developers for you. And in most cases, the way AI works, you could have a room full of developers now building training for you. So it's not only about high quality training to the market training, but also you could actually build significantly more training to get things done that you really think are falling through the cracks. And that's really what I think this platform can help with. So, we're really excited to share in this capability, and we really want to thank the folks at ATD for kind of letting us be a part of this program. I think we can help anybody with kind of just confirming that the knowledge is there. So we designed this program where we'll build a microsim leveraging AI for you for free. If you're part of this webinar, just reach out to us on our website. If you can get together a 1 or 2 page summary of what you'd like to do, we'll have a 15-minute meeting and talk through it. We'll leverage some of your digital images or photography. It doesn't include any custom artwork, etc., but we can always help with that if you need it. But more importantly, this is just limited to organizations that would use this for their training, not vendors. I apologize, vendors. But more importantly, it can run on anything from SCORM, XAPI to custom. So feel free to reach out to our website. And at this point, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that are going on, unless some of them have been answered by my team as well. But thank you very much, Alexandria, for this opportunity.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, your team has been in the chat answering questions. So I will try to jump to ones that have not been addressed yet.
Okay.
All right. To my list over here. We got to this one. What kind of lift? If folks are familiar with instructional design tools already, just what is the process like if you're new? If you're new and you're starting creating this, is it a big learning curve?
Yeah, actually, it's not. It's pretty straightforward. What we've done is we do an introductory webinar with whoever's starting the product, and we kind of walk through. There's a wizard system built into the platform, so you just answer a few questions and you build your first sim with us, and then we kind of let you go through. We have an academy that walks people through with some video training as well as some practical training. And I mean, I think that's really been our goal, is to make something that's very easy to use, that you don't have to be an expert in Articulate or any other products out there. You can actually pick this up pretty quickly. However, if you want to do some really high-end advanced VR type stuff, this is the beginning of that. And we can help with that, as well. Or if you are a high-end expert developer, you're going to love the capabilities within this platform.
Cool. Okay, I see. Is this tool available globally?
It is. It's not localized probably globally, but it is available for license from anybody in the world.
Awesome. Melody asked about options for freelancing instructional designers that would like to learn this as a skill they can bring to orgs. Ben replied, I think is that available to them as well? They get an opportunity to a testing environment if they attended this webinar?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk. We're building a network of resources that can help as people maybe want us to help build training. It'd be great to have partners and instructional design experts to build with us for this. That is definitely an area where we're growing.
Okay, a bunch of questions. I know this is sort of answered already, but can this tool be embedded or implemented in systems like Articulate if you already have an e-learning program, but you want to take a sim that you created over here, put it in there? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of this, right? So I think I mentioned in the presentation, we do custom development as well. So we have some really great examples of companies, one of the largest medical device manufacturers in the world we work with. And we take their Articulate courses and we put in our micro sims as knowledge application sims that are part of the assessment process or the implementation process within a published Articulate module that's SCORM based. So these are very flexible. They can sit and run anywhere in anything to a certain extent. So I think that's really been a big help to a lot of organizations. Because most of the e-learning out there is knowledge. And if you want to do a quick little knowledge check with somebody or give them an opportunity to demonstrate what they've just learned, we've worked with a partner for the American Red Cross program where you're going through all the recitation program, and then there's a micro sim pops up, and here's a patient that has an opiate overdose. How would you handle that particular case? And you make those decisions leveraging our micro sims.
Cool. Okay, Tyler asked a great question. There, a lot of the examples were very physical, tactile processes. Do you guys have templates available for more desk job kind of processes, maybe soft skills work, compliance, something like that?
That's a great question. So we tried to emphasize that a little bit in the cybersecurity piece. We've been doing a lot of soft skills, step processes, decision processes. I think as long as what we're talking about is visual, where you're looking at something, whether it's a screen or or another person, et cetera, you can absolutely apply this towards that. And I would just say, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to talk about it and even give you some examples of some of our customer-based training and how we did that.
Cool. So if folks have their own images, videos, some IP that they want to use internally, can they use that to build a sim with this tool?
They sure can. And I think that's the most exciting part, right? Is we have a lot of materials out there. And the advantages with these knowledge-based microsims is sometimes you just want to verify a couple of key things. Like that surgery example I showed you. If the case is going to go really well for surgery, these are the two things you really need to focus on, right? So I think that's really the great thing about this application is we can take video, digital photography, we can even create artwork, and build that and leverage any of those assets to create an immediate effect from a knowledge-based application sim.
Cool. Okay, we have follow-up questions to that. Is there IP protected? Like you have AI built into your tool now. How does it work? Is it that means
Yeah, no, great question. So remember, we're using AI as a user. None of your information is going into the AI conundrum and all that. So that's the first question I want to answer. And the second one is IP is very important. And the IP, what you put inside our platform is your information. Our platform and our technology is ours. So when you publish a sim, you're leveraging our platform. If you don't license our platform anytime after that, you've got yourself a published sim and you're off ready to go. You just can't sell what's around it, just like we wouldn't sell your content. So I think we're pretty comfortable with that process. It's very similar to how things work now with a lot of other products out there. So yeah, we're really careful about people misusing or AI being misused. It's really not. It's a vehicle to help you get more training and to make your environment safer and more powerful. That's really what we're trying to leverage here.
Yeah, gosh, it seems like it would help expedite the process. I'm just running through trying to grab all the questions we can get to before we run out of time. I see one from Lisa about accessibility. I guess she means maybe are there options for folks where simulation isn't as accessible? There's like another way to access that material. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard this a little bit. I mean, sometimes it's a rural system. You don't have a lot of internet access. There's a lot of cloud-based stuff here. You can publish this to a file that can run on a device. And there's even some tech that can actually then, once it detects that there's internet access, it can send that information back up to you as an administrator so you can see the people that perform those tasks. I believe that's what we're talking about from an accessible standpoint. We also have a partner that's starting to market this to the government. So there are some standards that we're adhering to as well in terms of user accessibility.
Awesome. I think that answers your question, Lisa, especially said the part where you can pull out all the text file stuff for like screen readers, things like that.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, we're doing really well, I think. Lisa, you asked this other question. Is it possible to have an LTI with common LMSs to feed into a gradebook? I don't even know what that question means. So my apologies if I didn't read that.
We've got our tech guys, but if I interpret this right, the nice thing about this is it actually can be a separate XAPI experience that can be linked, and then it can feed all the information to your LMS as well. So I think there's a lot of flexibility technology-wise. So my answer to that question would be, I'm pretty sure, but why don't we reach out directly and we can definitely cover all the bases with you.
Okay, for folks who they maybe are really targeted, they want Sims for a couple of things. Are there people in your team who can create them for them? They don't want to upskill, learn this new, maybe it's still a little bit of a learning curve. Do you guys have that option?
Yeah, we absolutely do. And we're building a network of resources so we can do as many as needed. So we absolutely practice what we preach. We built this software platform actually selfishly to use for us on delivering custom training and development. So if somebody does not want to go through the time to build and understand themselves, we can absolutely do it for you.
Great. I think we've gotten to most of the questions so far. My apologies if I've missed something along the way. It looks like your team was busy in the chat responding to questions during your demo.
Right.
So thank you so much, Bill, and thank you to the eTrain ETC team.
Great. Well, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.